Hey guys, Fixed Odd here. Back again with another update on my 2002 Ford Mustang project vehicle. I don't know if I said I was going to look at a motor, but I did, and I actually purchased a motor. It is behind me here. This is a 351 Windsor from a 1969 Ford Mustang Fastback. It started life as a two-barrel 351. Obviously, it's going to be getting a four-barrel and a cam, and it needs to be rebuilt, so I'm going to do a few upgrades to it before it goes in the car. As you can see, I have it all blown apart here. Besides, I have the factory camshaft in it right now. Shit all over my finger. I have the factory cam in it right now, which is a flat tappet cam, and I am doing a cardinal sin because I have roller lifters sitting on it. No, this is not how I'm going to run the engine. I am simply doing this, so as you can see, I have dot there and a dot right here. That one's a little bit harder to see. So I can drill holes for this guy. This is actually, I'm pretty excited because I just got this today, or the lifters and stuff today. These are the factory lifters and dog bones, and retainer thing from a 1995 351 Windsor. For those of you that don't know, all 351 Windsors used flat tappet cams like these guys. A flat tappet that rode on the cam up until about 1994. In 1994, which in the 90s, Ford was only using the 351 in trucks and bigger vehicles, stuff like that. The engines went to roller lifters, which has an actual little roller that rolls on the camshaft. And when I'm building my motor, I want to convert it to a roller, and the easy way to do that is to use factory lifters, dog bones, and this retainer from a factory roller 351. You can also use the lifters and retainers and stuff from a factory roller 302, which the 302 got a roller cam in like the late 80s, maybe even early 80s. It was like 85 or something. Yeah, the 351 was a little bit behind the ball when it came to roller cam and stuff. The only difference is you have to run a small base circle cam, which that basically means the base circle of a cam. Like if you picture a cam logo, it looks a little bit like an egg. If you take the base circle, so if you chop the low part off of it and just made that a circle, that is the base circle. These cams, for these blocks, you need a small base circle cam in order to run these factory lifters. Otherwise, you have to run a link bar lifter, which is basically just a taller lifter that has a link that goes between the two lifters. Because roller lifters, they can't spin. That's why they have these to hold them. Whereas a flat tappet lifter, you actually want it to spin because that's how it breaks into the cam, and yeah. So basically, I just have this mocked up so I can drill holes and tap them in the blocks to hold this retainer in, because obviously this is a factory flat tappet, so it doesn't have those holes. Anyways, going back towards the engine, there you can see they got a pretty good ring ridge on them. I'm probably just going to get it 30 over, even if they can just kind of take the ridge off. And then this is the rest of the engine over here. You can see the heads, the crank. The crank is fine. I actually measured the journals and stuff. They are all either within spec or kind of right towards the bottom of spec. So I'm probably just going to clean it up a little bit, throw some new bearings on it, call it good. The pistons are interesting, to say the least. If I grab, I can lift this over, grab the one that I cleaned off here. You can see, not this side. No, it was that side. Yes, it is this side. right there. The piston skirt's cracked. It's actually cracked ever so slightly on this side as well. A little bit harder to see. Because I was like, yeah, I'll just do a quick kind of rebuild on it, hone the cylinders, throw some new rings, bearings in it, whatever. But seeing that ring ridge and cracked pistons, obviously I'm not going to reuse cracked pistons, made me kind of go, well, I should probably just rebuild it properly instead of doing a backyard rebuild, which is what I did if you've seen my earlier videos to my last truck's 351 that it had. Yeah, actually, this lifter and retainer setup would have been the same setup that my last truck had. In fact, it's the exact same setup my last truck had. Moving over to the heads, I have them all blown apart, no valves in them. I even pulled the factory rocker arm studs out because I'm putting a cam in this motor, and factory press-in studs and an aftermarket cam don't mix very well. But yeah, these heads are in pretty rough shape. I've gotten quotes to rebuild them. Not cheap. I'm actually looking into AFR or Airflow Research's their Enforcer series of aluminum heads. They're like $800-900 per head, which the quotes that I've got to rebuild these were like $800 a head. So if I can just get a cheap set of aluminum heads for the same price, I'm probably just going to go that route. I got, from later or earlier video that I have my transmission and my drive shaft hiding away over here. I actually went back to Bucks, or the junkyard where I got the transmission from, and grabbed the bell housing, the block plate, and the clutch fork from the same car that those two things came out of. So my drivetrain is pretty much complete, other than a clutch and flywheel, which I will order later on. I have my belt drive pretty much figured out. These are accessory brackets from a 1990 F-150 that had a 302 in it. They do bolt to these heads, and they will bolt to aftermarket heads if I go that route. They have power steering pump, alternator. There would have been a smog pump on the bottom of this, but obviously I'm not going to be running that, so I ground the brackets for that off. Left a little bit of the bottom one here just to kind of act as a stiffener to stiffen it up. And then this does give me a spot to put an AC compressor. Ooh, pardon me, if I want to run AC in this car later on. Obviously, right off the start, I'm not going to be doing that because it will require custom-made AC lines and whatnot. So, no AC off the start, just kind of going to put an idler pulley here. Anything else to talk about here? Yeah, not really. That's pretty much the rundown on what's happening now. Obviously, as you've seen on the start, I have a new header panel for the car because this side of this header panel is broken and the bumper doesn't hold on anymore. It's also kind of broken in a few other places. Actually, when I got this car, there was no header panel on it because the guy that I bought this car off of, he basically used this car as a parts car to fix a GT Mustang that was an SGI write-off. This car has a clean VIN, it's SAS platable and whatnot. So probably another video will come out right away putting this in. It's not too hard, just kind of few bolts to get the bumper off, and then like 8 bolts that hold that on. Plus it's gray, so it'll blend in a little bit better than the red one I have in here now, which I actually got from the same junkyard, but because this one wasn't there. But now there's another Mustang there that has this one on it. So expect a video probably right after this one on a header panel replacement. But yeah, more or less that's kind of what's been going on. Oh yeah, I guess the engine bay wasn't painted last time too, so enough talking about this header panel. Get it out of the way here, just sit it down on my chair. Yeah, the engine bay is black now. Don't ask questions. It's just black now. Don't worry about it. No, I actually I pulled all the wiring harnesses and everything, left the brake booster, but pulled like the only things on the front of this car was the suspension and a few brake lines kind of off on the passenger side, but everything else was taken out of it. Basically what happened is I started to clean kind of this area of the engine bay, and the degreaser that I started to use actually started to take paint off, and instead of trying to find a yellow that would match, I just kind of, well, I'll just scuff the whole engine bay and paint it black, and I think it came out amazing, especially since basically this motor is going to get painted Ford blue like it actually has on it still, but it'll get repainted obviously. Probably if I get aluminum heads, the heads will get painted as well. But regardless, even if I use those heads, they will get repainted as well. So I think the nice Ford blue engine and the nice black engine bay will look really cool. It's kind of weird to me because it's a modern car. It's 20 years old, but compared to the engine that's going in it, it's modern. But most of the older Mustangs, lots of them at least, their engine bays were black from the factory. And so basically the outside of the car is all modern and whatnot, and then you open the hood and it looks like it's an old Mustang under the hood, which I think is going to be really cool. It'll get a good conversation piece, I guess you could call it, at car shows and whatnot, because I'm definitely going to be taking this thing to car shows once I get it up and going. But yeah, that's kind of basic update about what's been going on. Like I said, expect a video to come out right after this one for replacing that header panel, which that'll be the same for like 1999 to 2004 Mustangs. It might even be the same, if not very similar, for 94 to 98 Mustangs as well. But yeah, so hope you guys liked the video. Subscribe for future updates on my project car and maybe other projects that I do on friends' vehicles and whatnot. But yeah, consider subscribing and liking the video. Have a nice day.